You straight up cuckooed that dude, bro. Oh my God.
You've got all your Charger gear on because
I look good. I got big energy every day. Let's go!
And he is dicked.
Blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while.
That's right.
You have to love what you're seeing on tape if you're a Chargers fan, especially for the future with Justin
Herbert on the move and throws and touchdown.
Players, coaches, staff, fans, together we can create something truly special.
Stay tuned for some good content.
All right. Welcome back, everybody, to the Charger Chat. I am your co-host, Will Dog.
Hi, Will Dog.
Hi, Will Dog.
Sitting with my buddies, Kev Hug and Duggan.
Hi, guys.
And Kyle, the coach, Duggan.
That was a good laugh. First laugh we've had in about 24 hours.
All right, gang. Well, you were there. We were there. We all
know what
it.
happened.
We all know what happened.
You know.
But man, what a game. What a freaking game. What an end to the game. What a fight. What a fight.
It was classic Chargers in the sense that, like, it's the roller coaster, man.
Yeah.
Like I came to terms with the fact that we were gonna lose that game. Like, I had come to terms with that in my mind.
Quarter. Yeah,
absolutely.
It was like I was getting, it's like you have that thing where it's like, all right, well, this just sucks. This is over. This is our season. This sucks. And then Justin motherfucking Herbert decided, no, this is not the end of this game.
Right.
I'm going to do everything in my power to get us into the playoffs. And he did absolutely everything possible he could do.
Yep.
And the defense just had absolutely nothing for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there were brief moments of greatness. We saw Uchenna Nwosu playing out of his mind.
Man, he played like a man out of hell. Just
A contract game right there.
Jeez, dude.
We saw
played a hell of a game.
Asante Samuel flying all over the field. Derwin James playing every position possible. But it wasn't enough to get the job done. It was almost a night and day performance compared to the first time they played the Raiders. So I don't know what they did differently, but
it was just mistakes, man. It was just mistakes, and then bad fucking calls.
I don't want to say this, but the Raiders came out with more fire than we did in the first quarter, and they took the game right there.
Mm-hmm.
You can't you can say turnovers mistake, but that's because we kind of came out flat.
Yeah.
And they just ran the ball down our throat all game.
Yeah.
Carr played 5 quarters and threw for 180 yards. That's horse poop. That's not good.
Is that real? He threw only 180 yards that game?
Yeah.
And most of it was check
of
downs. It was like that tight end little screen got him 40.
Wow.
Most of his like yardage I've never seen a quarterback more excited for pass interference calls. He would get the biggest smile.
Dude, he would just close his eyes and just huck it.
I've never seen a quarterback celebrate flags so much. Though there was one that did make me laugh because it was that late flag that was thrown when he did the intentional grounding. So they threw the flag late. And he started clapping and
it was on him.
And it was on him. And it was it's not all on us, you big fat jerk. So it was a crazy game. The fourth quarter comeback is I love Phillip Rivers. I don't recall him being in that situation, having to throw 10-yard fourth downs consistently down the field. That was how many plays? Like 16 plays just to go a certain amount of yards.
That touchdown
no one's
was
ever
17
done that.
plays in 2 minutes. He threw the ball
unbelievable.
Threw the ball 17 times.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Well, and because of that quarter, I hit my Bolt prediction, not the win, but over 380 and 3 touchdowns. So
that's right.
Thank you. 5,000 yards for our boy.
It was just, I think just overall, like that game kind of was encapsulated our whole season. If you wanted to know what the Chargers 2021 season was, you just watched the Raider game. Because it was like, there was times of genius
greatness,
and you're so excited. And then there was just these lulls where it's just like, golly, like that first quarter, it just reminded me of the Ravens game and the Patriots game. But then you have that fourth quarter that reminds you of some of the like the Chiefs game and
Browns
that we won
game
and the Browns game and
Yep.
some of these awesome games that we had. But at the end of the day, it's just the Chargers season was inconsistent. At the end of the day, this is just an inconsistent team with so much talent that we should never 9-8. Looking at that record right now on our outline, that's crazy for the talent we had. We were one game over 500.
Yeah. It's just you look at it specifically what it was, and it was like you, Kyle, said that it was the shining example of what our season was, and it was just our defense.
Yeah.
And it was just you can't, what's the saying? You win championships with defense.
Defense wins championships. Yeah.
Defense wins, and we just don't. I think it's going to take another year for him to get who he wants. I think he was coaching with players that weren't designed for what he wants. Really, you just didn't see much out of him in that game. And you would think that after Justin did that, and they were on the sideline, and they watched him do that, they watched him pull him back in the game, they would be up for anything.
Right.
They would be ready to murder. But I think you look at watching back some of those videos, it looked like they were on the sideline they had already checked out.
Yeah.
Because you see when they said, they're like, oh my God, you see Joey like, oh shit, like what just happened?
Mm-hmm.
They weren't ready. They weren't geared up, like, so it was just I hate kickers, dude. I hate them.
It was just it was the most disappointing. I think that's the craziest part of this whole season. And I know we're looking at just this Raider game, but I had such high expectations for what the new defensive coordinator would bring.
Right.
I thought
I think a lot of us did. Yeah.
Having Staley, I thought that our defense was just gonna be lights out, shut down.
Right.
And I think because he did so well with the Rams, but I think it goes to show like you gotta have depth. There's just so I mean in this last game, it's not even a depth thing because all of our starters were playing.
We were healthier than any other team going into this game.
So we just got beat up front. Yeah.
Yeah, it is unfortunate, but looking at some of the other, some of the stats, some of the I can't even think of the word now. The bright spots, I guess. Yeah,
the shining. Shining lights.
The shining lights. Justin Herbert was 6 for 6 for 106 yards and a touchdown on fourth down that game. The Chargers became the first
fourth downs. He had 106 yards passing.
That's almost as much as Derek Carr the whole game.
The whole game on fourth down.
Unbelievable. The Chargers became the first team in the last 30 years to have 6 fourth down conversions in a game. In the last 30 years. Unbelievable.
And most of them were 4th and 10 plus.
What was the 4th and 20 something? What was that one touchdown? It was like forever.
Yeah, it was like 21 or 23, something like that.
Something crazy.
Yeah, it was deep. And again, it was just all those moments that you were just like, there's no way. I mean, there's no way. Something is going to happen. Something's going to happen. And we kept it alive. We kept it alive all the way down to the last 2 seconds of overtime. And that's when it was just solidified that it was done. So, but Justin Herbert, man, over 5,000 yards, 5,014 to be specific, 38 passing touchdowns, most by any Chargers quarterback in a season, 15 interceptions, a completion percentage of 65.9, passer rating 98.4, total touchdowns 41 for his other rushing ones. So, what a dude. What a stud.
You can't say we're not a good team because we don't have a quarterback. Solve it, fix it, because the most important piece, we absolutely have a top 5 quarterback in the league.
Right.
And people, it's fun watch. It's been interesting. It hasn't been fun. It's been interesting watching, some of the pundits and the people on ESPN talk about it. And people are mad that they don't get to see more Justin Herbert in the playoffs. Like people are pissed. Like, look, you're sending Derek Carr and Ben Roethlisberger as AFC representatives.
They're both just going to get smacked around in the first round.
They're not going to make it past the first round.
Right.
So it's like, if anything, I think we showed a lot of people were watching that game. And if you like quarterbacks, you like watching quarterbacks be amazing, you're probably going to be into the Chargers because that's what we have. And it's exciting. People are saying it was the best game of the year. And I'm not, I can't disagree. It sucked being on the side of it that we were on, but I can't disagree with that.
Yeah, but that was a crazy exciting. My kids were asleep there at the end of the game. I was running up and down the hallway and upstairs. Yeah. My wife was like I didn't know what to do. It was an incredible game to watch. It was really fun, but it did. I mean, obviously we're on the wrong end of the final score, but a pretty fun game to at least end it on.
Yeah, just wild and crazy.
There was a part of me that was surprised that we didn't go for it on the fourth down and said we kicked it to tie it up. There was a part of me that was surprised.
Well,
everything we had done to get up to that point.
Well, dude, there was a lot of stuff. Like go for 2 after we scored at the end of regulation.
Right.
I thought maybe we just go for the win right there after all that we had gone through.
Right.
Our team is just dead tired. I understand we had momentum, so I'm not going to say it was the wrong call. But just Monday morning quarterbacking, looking back, it's like that was probably a shot where you could have pulled a Staley. You know, be that ultra aggressive and say, hey, we're going to win it right now.
Right.
Yeah. We need 3 yards. Let's go do it.
Right. Yeah, because I mean, when you're taking it to overtime, as we've said before, you're trusting a coin toss, and even the coin toss didn't go our way, but we were still able to hold them to an initial field goal. But continuing to throw praise at Herbert, threw the second most yards out of everybody this season. The only one to throw better was Tom Brady, and I believe he threw the third most amount of touchdowns behind Brady and Stafford. So more touchdowns than Patrick Mahomes, more yards than Patrick Mahomes. So suck it, Mahomes. Do you see it? Because you better believe it.
Yes.
You jerk ass. And then looking at history, I saw this as well, and I was shocked that this wasn't the most in team history, but Justin Herbert had 64 attempts last night's game.
64.
But surprisingly, Phillip Rivers had a game where he threw for 65, which is insane. So I can't believe that didn't set a team record, but Manischewitz, that was looking at it, that was a 4-hour game.
Yeah,
was it that long?
I looked at the clock.
Exhausted when that was over, man.
Yeah. I mean, the game started for my time. It was 6:20, and near the end, I was looking up, and it was past 10 o'clock. It was going past 10:15. So that was a long game. But Justin Herbert continues to impress. And then some of the standouts for our team this year: Joey Bosa got himself 10.5 sacks. Good for him. Kaiser White, wow, got a whopping 144 solo tackles this year. Sign the man. Give the man his money.
10 solo tackles a game almost.
That's a lot.
And he was used so much. I don't see how coach is like, no, we'll replace him with somebody. Like he played so well that you have to get him back.
Yeah,
please. Sure. Pretty pleased with the cherry on top. Austin Eckler. I think this guy is going really underappreciated right now, across the league. Had 911 rushing yards, 70 receptions for 647 yards, so 1,558 yards, total yards, and 20 touchdowns.
20 touchdowns in 16 games.
Touchdowns.
He didn't play against the Texans.
No.
Right.
16 games. He was averaging more than a touchdown a game.
Yeah. So
he's basically become we talked about it when we interviewed him at the very beginning of the year, like, hey, you're going to be in that Kamara role. Like, he is better than the Kamara was. This is exactly what Kamara's numbers were when Lombardi was with the Saints. So,
and he's the second Charger with 20 touchdowns in a season. Him and LT are the only two.
Yeah. That is some good company.
Pretty intense company to be with. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Very intense. Yeah. I mean, and I think it was the second most touchdowns, only to Jonathan Taylor, I think, for the Colts. So just going extremely underappreciated. Austin Eckler having himself a hell of a season, all things considered. And Mike Williams, 76 receptions, over 1,000 yards, 1,146, 9 touchdowns. Keenan Allen, 106 receptions, over 1,138 total yards, 6 touchdowns. I mean,
2,000-yard receivers.
Yeah, we've got playmakers, man. We've got guys that can get the job done, and I mean, we know what the issues are, and I'm sure the coaches are aware of it as well.
Oh,
and now we've got 8 months to figure it all out.
Well, and think of it. Here's the way I want to think of it: is that we put out some game tape for free agents. I think people will go and look at that and see what kind of quarterback we have. And when you see that and you're like, I'm a good defensive player, I can go step in there and help this defense. The sky's the limit.
Yeah.
So I think if anything, he put up good, we put up good tape for some free agents to be like, oh shit, I should probably get up in there. Go help Herbert out.
100% agree.
I think that the Chargers are a good landing spot now to be at. We have we didn't make the playoffs, which sucks. But you have all
we
the
competed.
Pieces. Yeah, you have all the pieces to be a really, really good team. We just need a couple of those. Honestly, I don't think it's going to be a couple. I think it's going to be a pretty big overhaul. Some parts of our team, but we're close. So I think it's a good landing spot for those big time free agents if we want to pay them.
Big time. All right, gang, and now it is time to talk about our sponsor this week, Symbol. Symbol is the stock market for sports that allows you to profit off your sports knowledge. On Symbol, you can trade sports teams like stocks, and every time your teams win, you earn cash. Use your sports knowledge on Symbol to buy low, sell high, and earn cash payouts when your teams win. Join over 7,000 early adopters who have started to invest in their favorite teams. Visit www.symbol.com, that's SIMBULL.com, to create a free account, and when you deposit, make sure to use the promo code ChargerChat, all one word, for a money-back guarantee. Make sure you use that promo code ChargerChat, and your deposit will have a money-back guarantee up to $500. That means even if you lose money in the first 90 days, Symbol will refund your initial deposit, no questions asked. Join Symbol and start investing and profiting from your favorite teams. All right, looking over at Twitter, Fernando Ramirez tweeted out Chargers safety Derwin James on the performance of quarterback Justin Herbert. James said, Herbert was amazing. He has been amazing all season. I hate we didn't get it done for him. Which,
yeah, you saw James on the sideline getting all pissed off, especially like Harris had one of his worst games. He just played so poorly.
What's crazy is they had Chris Harris running around with Renfro the whole game. He was like spying him. That he was playing in the slot and just spying Renfro the whole time. I'm surprised they didn't get taken advantage of more, to be honest.
Yeah.
Brandon Staley says on how quarterback Justin Herbert played in fourth quarter and overtime. He said, that's why I hate that we aren't in the tournament, because he's one of the best players in the NFL. I hate that he's not in the tournament competing against the best players in the NFL, and I hate it for him. So
we all do, coach.
We all feel it, and it's good to see him say that. It's not. He's at least acknowledging what we're all feeling, and it's not the situation of like, well, coach, he doesn't understand this or he doesn't get that. It's like, no, he gets it, dude. Like, he understands everything that's been going on.
Well, right now, all the shade is coming on coach.
Yeah.
None of it's like, oh, Herbert didn't perform, couldn't get his team in the playoffs. He doesn't have it. It's, did Coach Staley's decisions to go for it on fourth down and call a timeout at the end of the game, and did that cost them a playoff berth? So, which I think is good. It's an opportunity for coach to respond, and it doesn't put all the weight and the whole off season of pressure onto the guys.
Right.
Sure.
Because I mean, there was plenty of drops, like plenty of drops. There was a fumbled punt return, but all you're hearing about is kind of coach's decisions, which is good for the players.
Yeah. No, I think I saw the Chargers had the most drops out of any team this season. We led with the amount of drops. We had the most drops. So,
and then we had another illegal man downfield penalty in this last game. That was huge. Yeah. Like, golly, guys, clean this crap up.
Yeah.
Well, just the craziest one was the Jones not landing on the ball with the strip sack. It would have put it aside the 20 with extra time on the clock. Like, I was just laying in bed so much after that game.
Well, I forgot about this. The very first drive, they fumble and it goes out at the 1 instead of going through the pylon.
And touchback.
Just so many little things that were just like, man, it just did not get lucky.
Right. That's why you can't put it on just one thing. Like, yes, if one of these things changed, could it be a difference on how the game turns out? Absolutely. But you can't just say that was the only reason.
Right.
You had Andre Roberts fumbling the ball. You had
field goal.
You had the missed field goal, which, I mean, that was a pretty long field goal. I'm not mad at him for missing that. That was asking a lot for him.
But the Raiders kicker made his from that distance plus to win the game. So
sure, he's the better kicker, obviously.
Kickman's are kickman, and I appreciate everything he's done up to this point. But
anytime your coach puts you on the field, you got to make the kick.
You got to make it, man.
Sure. But I mean, like I said, there's multiple things that occurred in this game
for sure
that you can't just put it on one thing.
Yeah. No. It's a team loss.
It was a team loss. And Staley responded on his thoughts on the final timeout. He said, we needed to get in the right grouping. Staley told the media via the team's website. He said, we felt like they were going to run the ball, so we wanted to get our best 11 personnel run defense in, make that substitution so we could get a play where we would deepen the field goal.
This whole thing where like they're talking about, if we wouldn't have called the timeout, they would have just let the clock run out.
No,
that's
BS.
absolute horseshit.
Yeah, no
it's
way.
Just bullshit. They were going to run the ball anyways. That's just a fact. They were going to run the ball.
Right.
So I really don't understand the coach's call, like timeout made a difference. He wanted to get the guys on the field so we could stop them to make it a long field goal. Like,
right.
What are we talking here? We're saying that they now came up with some perfect play because we called the timeout and caught us.
Yeah.
They ran the ball.
Right.
It's not like they ran some trick pass that caught us off guard because they had time to figure it out.
Right.
They just ran a basic zone play and beat us up.
Right. I think some people are thinking that we called the timeout to try to like save some clock or something like that. I don't know if I don't get that mentality. And it in my mind, it was like, he just wanted to make some substitutions, wanted to get the right play in, wanted to get the right guys on the field. Obviously, it didn't make a difference because we still gave up 8 yards that play, but still, I mean,
because what are you going to do with 8 seconds? What are you trying to get after 8 seconds? It doesn't matter. You tie. If they miss this field goal, you tie and you go to the playoffs.
Right.
So like everything about it doesn't make sense, that argument.
Well, he called the timeout with 40-something seconds on the clock.
Right.
And then they got the first down and then they ran it down to 2 and then kicked the field goal. So if we had stopped them and it was 4th down and 2 and they had a 61-yard field goal, then maybe they punt and we have a chance to go win.
But at that point,
that's what some people would say. I don't agree with them.
But if you're playing that game, like you play the game where you just take a knee and that's over. You both go into the playoffs. Right. Like it's a that's moot
clearly
point in my opinion.
But that is not a Coach Staley take. Like he's always, the reason that I think that there's a lot of talk about it is because he is an ultra aggressive coach. So it looks like an ultra aggressive move when that wasn't. It's not that situation. That's not why.
I think for him, like if we got into that situation, I think they would have taken a knee and just taken that game. Right. What they had to do to get back into that game, to get it into overtime, you saw what Coach's mentality was when he didn't go for it on 4th down, when he kicked the field goal to tie it. It wasn't a let's go stomp on their throats. It was holy shit, we're still in this. Let's not f it up. And that's the vibe I got at the end of that game.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's why
we're all in agreement.
The outside, the skeptic,
I want to argue with somebody. God damn it!
Yeah, chill out. The skeptic of the timeout is saying that he was being ultra aggressive.
Right.
But we know based on what was going on in the game, that's not what he was doing. He was just trying to get the right guys on the field.
Right. Yeah. Bill Barnwell tweeted out, very confused. So Bisaccia kicked because he wanted to face the Bengals and not the Chiefs, which makes sense. But before the Chargers took the timeout, he was happy to just run the clock out and face the Chiefs. And this is in response to Randy Scott saying Derek Carr just confirmed on NBC that the Chargers timeout changed the Raiders' plan.
Derek Carr is a dumbass. He's just a liar. Like, what do you mean it changed your plan? What were you going to do? You weren't going to run the ball? You were going to take a knee? Bull crap, Derek Carr.
Liar.
You're a big idiot. You're just trying to throw shade at the Chargers because we have a better quarterback and you threw for 180 yards in 5 quarters. You suck. And you're going to lose. You're going to get stomped in the first round.
I can't wait for this first round, dude. Let's go Burrow. Smack these Raiders around, dude.
That would be awesome.
The Bengals are going to stomp the Raiders.
Didn't they already? I can't remember all the teams that played this year. I feel like
even if they win, they're going to face the Chiefs and Chiefs will put up 41 on them like they've done twice already this season.
There you go.
Yeah, Bengals beat them 32-13. Let's get another one of those tasty morsels of meow meow time.
We're so salty.
We are. Can't help it.
Gonna feel like this till the draft. Just get ready.
I mean, honestly, it's because it's the Raiders. Like, if it was almost any other team, I don't know. I mean, we'd be upset. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think we would be quite throwing shade and salt and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's because it's the Raiders.
And just so everyone knows, us here at Charger Chat reserve the right to delete anyone that just goes into our YouTube comments and writes Raiders deleted. So just don't waste your time.
Get out of here.
We reserve all rights to block assholes.
We talked about the draft. That's like the next thing we have to look forward to. Guess what number pick we have?
17.
Phillip Rivers, baby. We got some luck coming at 17.
You know it.
So that's a lucky number.
Let's see. Continuing on Twitter, Fernando Ramirez tweeted out, Chargers, Brandon Staley, this is just the beginning for us. We're going to have a tremendous offseason together. We're going to learn from this, and we're going to grow from this, and we're going to come back in a really, really big way together.
That's the hope, Coach.
I believe it.
I mean,
the thing with
I
this,
believe it.
the thing with this is the culture is already changing. This isn't a team that sits back and lets shit happen to them anymore. So if anything, this year the culture and the vibe has definitely been different.
Next year you have to win.
You have to win.
The NFL is about winning. I love the culture change. I love that the guys are friends. You have to win football games. So it's time next year. Now we got to win. We got to get in the playoffs. We got to make a push. We should be Super Bowl contenders in Justin Herbert's third year. That's just bottom line.
I'm just really pulling for Staley, and I'm wanting. I hope this defense is a top 10 defense next year.
It needs to be.
It needs to be, and I think that's going to be the big difference, because I can't remember at what point we decided that we got Staley, but it wasn't right after the season. Like I think it was well after the Super Bowl, probably a month or so after that. So,
well, it was right after he got eliminated with the Rams against the Green Bay Packers. We interviewed him like the 3 days after that and signed him up.
Oh, really? It was that? Okay. I thought it was after the Super Bowl. So
yeah,
either
January
way,
17th. It was pretty close.
Okay. Yeah. Well, even still, I mean,
he didn't have his coaching staff. He
didn't have his coaching staff. Yeah. They were still making decisions, coming up with game plans. So, I mean, he's got a little bit of, like Kevin said, the culture has already been established as far as what this is going to be. And so now they can just build on top of that moving forward. And I'm excited to see it. I'm right along there with them. And folks, don't forget to go on over to chargerchat.com. Check out the members section on our page where you can chat it up with other Charger Chatteteers and pick up some sweet merch. And if you have questions for Ask Boltfam, you can throw them up over there at chargerchat.com. All right. Well, now it is time to go on to the next segment. Fan focus. Let's see what fan risked coming on for this episode. Oh.
All right, guys, we are back with another fan focus, and we have a very, very special person. We have Señora Snappy. What is going on, Señora Snappy?
It's good to see you, Hogan.
It's good to see you. Thank you so much for coming on. And I wish it could have been under better circumstances. I wish the stupid Raiders would have just missed a field goal and we would have played a little better defense.
Yeah, I know. It was tough to watch, especially when they got into overtime. But it was super exciting seeing within the last 30 seconds of the quarter just how the offensive line rallied together and how Justin Herbert was able to just move the ball and move the chains. And I mean, they had over 15 plays in that last.
Yeah. It was wild. It was wild. Like, it was like the ups and downs. Like I was telling you before we started, like I was getting prepared for the loss. And then Justin decides to go all He-Man and like go for it. And he's just the shining star of that game. So thanks for coming on. A lot of people were like, maybe I don't want to talk about Chargers right now, but I want to talk about Chargers because it makes me feel better. So thank you for coming on.
Yeah, of course. Just like you said, even just the last couple of minutes of the game, getting prepared for like the loss and the mental, emotional, and even physical like aftermath of, oh my God, what happened? It was really interesting seeing too, just how the commentators, the last 5 minutes of the game, they already had wrapped it up and were saying like, oh, here's who the Raiders are going to play next. Here's where they're going to go. Here's what they're going to do. And I was like, guys, there's 5 minutes left.
And we have Justin Herbert.
Like, just wait and see what happens before you're just like, we're done for the night.
That's smart. I love it. So, all right, cool. Let's find out more about you, Señora Snappy. How did you become a Charger fan?
Yeah, I would say that probably the journey of becoming a Chargers fan started in, I want to say 2017 or 2018, when me and Señora Snappy actually got together. We came to LA for a vacation, and he took me to my first NFL game. And it was at StubHub Stadium, and the Ravens were playing the Chargers. And it was really incredible because I had never been to a tailgate, never experienced any kind of professional football game. When we got to the stadium, we kind of had the same experience that you and the other guys on the podcast had with walking through Thunder Alley and being like, oh my God, it's like Disneyland. This is incredible. Like, I didn't know people did things here at NFL games, and got together and just celebrated the fact that they were rooting on their team that they had been supporting for a really long time. So when we got into the stadium and Philip Rivers came out onto the field, I was like, oh my God, who is that guy?
Nice.
He was so tall and just had such a presence. And, you could tell that there was something really special about him. And I hadn't seen too many of the past games that he had done because I grew up a Seattle Seahawks fan. And so even when I went to the tailgate, I was a little bit nervous about wearing Seattle Seahawks gear. Because I was like, oh no, I feel like that's so disrespectful to come into somebody else's stadium. But all of the Charger fans that I met there were amazing. And they wanted to talk about just the differences between the two teams and what I thought about the Chargers. And so granted, like the Chargers ended up losing that game to the Ravens, but it was really amazing because that was the season that Philip Rivers brought Antonio Gates out of retirement, and they were making the last push for the playoffs. And so that was really cool to be able to go and see that and experience that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And now you and Señora Snappy are like my main stop when I get to the Chargers tailgate. You guys have the Rivers Lake and the website, and you're honestly some of the best tailgating food I've had is Señora Snappy's.
Thank you. Yeah. I think it was actually Señora Snappy's idea to have barbacoa. So it was just a dish I had never made before.
Really? No way. Shut up.
Yeah. But yeah, it was amazing being able to feed you and to feed Wooly and Coach and even Mike Modlin. He had stopped by at one point. I didn't get to feed him, but he had a yacht tot and he thoroughly enjoyed that.
Nice.
But yeah, it was incredible being able to have such a positive response to what it was that I was making. And it was a really big encouragement to be able to be like, oh, okay, I can actually do this. I can make food. I can interact with people, and like we can talk about what's going on and what's going to happen for the game, what we think is going to happen, what we hope is going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's been a really incredible experience.
Well, and I'm looking forward to your next tailgate meal. And what are you doing in your mind to get we have a lot of off time ahead of us. There's a lot of what do you as a Charger fan do in this downtime? What do you do?
Well, one of the things that I'm going to be doing is trying to support the Rivers Lake project. Señora Snappy, along with a couple of other writers, have started to create content. And one of the things that we also want to do is try to branch out into different subject matters that maybe other Charger fans would be interested in, whether it's music, local entertainment, different food options as well, and just getting people excited for what's going to be coming for the next season, because it's going to be here faster than we realize.
Yeah.
And so we're looking for writers, we're looking for people to contribute, and we're looking to make people excited. Like even with the loss to the Raiders last night, even a couple of fans that I've met that have been diehard, dedicated people, they were, kind of upset about what happened and like emotionally a little off, like you said too earlier, like you kind of had to process what happened.
Yeah.
But then you were like, moving on.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what we're going to try and do is just focus on the offseason. John Kigley joined the team. He was formerly on Locked On Chargers, and cool. Nick, who's done several...
defense huge. He's one of our. I've read one of his articles on Rivers Lake. It is fantastic. So he's a good get. He's a good get for sure.
Yeah. They've just been trying to get people together who are just excited and passionate about the Chargers and want to make things that can further bring the community together and further just make people look past the things that didn't work out this season and to be excited for the next one. Because for Justin Herbert to have been able to do what he has for just being a second season rookie, I mean, that's incredible. That's mind blowing to see what he was able to accomplish.
Exactly. Well, and a lot of people, you can't just like turn off the Charger switch. Like I'm not done getting content and like wanting to like interact with everyone. So let's just keep this rolling. So let's get you out of here on this one, Señora. Like, what do you want to see these Chargers do in the the Senior Bowl? Like, what are you most looking forward to player related that we might get in the future? Like what event are you most looking forward to?
I really enjoyed the training camp, and it was really cool seeing how just even with practice, seeing what all of the players had to go through and what they kind of, starting from the very beginning of the building blocks of taking what they learn in practice and then applying it into live action. So I think that'll be a really great experience to see that all over again, because I think that people will walk into even just those training camps with a better perspective of, okay, here's how the last season went. Like maybe they're going to apply and do some things differently, that then when we see those things in practice and see them live action, like, oh, whoa, they actually made that happen.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's exciting. And, let's keep it going. Charger fans, we're rolling. We're not going to stop. So keep doing what you guys doing at Rivers Lake. I love all that material. Say hi to Señora Snappy for me.
I will. Yeah, absolutely. Anybody who wants to contribute any kind of content, like I said, just go to riverslake.org. You can contact Señora Snappy, and he'll put you in the right places and make things happen.
Love it. Love it so much. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for your time, and we will talk to you very soon.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, love you. Bye.
Okay, love you. Bye.
All right, Señora Snappy, let's go. Already turning us around. Love it. Yes.
Positivity.
Yeah, if we can turn her around from being a Seahawks fan, I think we can all turn around our mindsets right now.
Yes. It can be done. But I'm excited for the next time I get to go to a tailgate and try some more of her food, because that shit's good.
No.
Yeah, we'll definitely be getting tailgate parking passes next year. We got to get on top of that.
Sure.
Jeff.
Yeah. Are we going to upgrade? Are we going to move down? Or are we staying where we are?
I don't know. I guess people got to let us. I don't know how the ticket licensing things works. I don't want to have to buy new PSLs. So I don't know. I don't know how that works.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. We'll get it
I think
squared
we
away.
got some time. Yeah.
We got some
time. But yes, don't forget to go on over to riverslake.org to check out all of what's going on over there, because yes, they're bringing on such famous writers as Nick Defense Huge.
Yes. If you like those Ask Boltfams where we fall apart laughing and crying and like almost throwing up, that most of those are Nick Defense Huge, and he writes some really. He's a good writer. Like if you go check out some of his stuff, it's very good and a different sensibility to us Americans, because he's from the UK,
from across the pond. Yeah,
definitely good. I would recommend go checking them out, because it's fun. I love what they're doing over there.
There you go. Thank you again, Señora Snappy, for coming on and making delicious food and welcoming us into your tent at the Snappy side of of Thunder Alley. All right, gang. Well, now it's time to go on to the next segment. You know them, you love them, It's the Craig Experience, baby.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Come on in, man. Kick your feet up.
Oh,
Craig Experience.
Hello there.
Make yourself at home. Got some stuff to talk about, right? Moving on.
Yeah, this one hurt. I'm not gonna even lie to you guys. I am struggling right now. I am driving the struggle bus, and I'm not gonna make light of any of you and your feelings, because I 1000% empathize. But we'll do what we always do and walk through this together, because we are the Bolt fam. And before you know it, a few weeks will have gone by. This thing will start to subside. We'll be talking off-season stuff, draft stuff, and looking forward to 2022. We just got to get through this rough patch first. So let's get off and rolling. CC gang, the biggest of salutes. To the rest of the Bolt fam, what is going on? She got Craig in Texas, and welcome to another edition of the Craig Experience. And somehow, we have reached the conclusion of the 2021 NFL football campaign for the Los Angeles Chargers, our Los Angeles Chargers. And boy, was that one hell of a roller coaster ride from beginning to end. And I'm kind of sitting here in awe that the season has concluded already, because that was pretty quick considering there was an additional week. And what can we say? Did we anticipate it ending in the fashion that it did? No. to the team that it did? Hell no. But yeah, here we are. And there are a lot of things to take away from Sunday's game, most of which I won't get into because the guys are breaking it down for you. And honestly, who wants to have someone else help you relive the pain? So we will do what we do over here, what we does, and that is talk about the positives. And what is more positive than number freaking 10? Look, let me express this really quickly. The fact that Ben Roethlisberger has done everything within his power to end his own professional career, essentially has announced that he wants to retire, starts his little farewell deal over the last week, and essentially gets to like walker, you know, like the elderly walkers, and sometimes they have like the tennis balls on the bottom for the grip. That's what he's using to walk into the playoffs. Meanwhile, Mr. Bionic, Justin He-Man Herbert, has to retire to his cryogenic chamber until the fall. And how is that fair? I'm sure I speak for the majority of us when I say that I have not seen a performance like that to end a game in my 38 years on this planet. He literally single-handedly brought the team back from essentially being buried alive. Late in the third quarter, I don't know about you guys, but I was kind of convinced that that was a wrap. I mean, I'm never going to walk away from a Chargers game, at least not in the third quarter. I don't believe I've ever done that. Actually, I think I sat through almost every bad Chargers experience all the way to the bitter end because apparently I'm a glutton for punishment. But from the point where he throws that pick in the fourth quarter to Casey Hayward, we all probably just assumed it was a wrap. But then homeboy decided that at some point he had had enough, and he hit the God of War button and just decided, man, F it. I got it. And decides that he's just going to go take over. Now, I'm not sure why it took the offense that long to kind of really get rolling, but they just owned the ball for basically the last 10 minutes of the fourth quarter. And he went nuclear. I mean, bringing them back from 15 down to get them into overtime. And oh yeah, we all had to suffer through the whole tie thing. That was literally was a story for a week. And the exact scenario plays out. Only in Charger land does stuff like this happen. I'm convinced it's just a thing for us. But I will go to war with that dude or for that dude if I catch anybody saying anything negative. Anybody. We might have to throw hands. 10 has been adopted into my family. He might as well be one of my kids. You can't touch one of my kids. You can't say anything about him. If you do, you got to deal with me. That's where I am with it right now. So, keep your hands off of 10. It's my 10. It's my guy. Respect him. Or else. So, needless to say, he had a tremendous sophomore season. So that whole slump thing that everyone was trying to play up because they need a narrative and it's, clickbaitish and gives people something to talk about. It's provocative. He went ahead and dispelled all of that. We had year one of Brandon Staley, BSB. Some of the BSBing worked out, some of it didn't. But again, it's kind of the ebb and flow when you're taking chances like that. And I'm gonna be real with you, dog. I say my butt cheeks were clenched on those fourth down plays. I mean, because at that point you have to do it. It's not really an option. So it's less BSBing and more of, hey, you just got to do what you got to do. But either way, I've not dealt with my blood pressure being that high. I don't think that's healthy for someone my age. I mean, I'm not really old yet. That's debatable. But man, come on. That was freaking crazy. And, some of the decisions that Staley made, some people are going to question. Some of them were a little, like going for it on fourth down, inside your own 20. That was different. the play calling on the 3rd and 4th down, turning over on downs, essentially risking the Raiders scoring 7 instead of 3. It was different. Play calling, that's a Joe Lombardi thing. We won't broach that. But just in general, overall for the year, it was Staley's first crack at it. So people that are freaking out and jumping off of the boat about it, look, man, give the dude a chance. He was coaching, D3 ball 5 years ago. He's going to get better. There are areas of improvement, but what we can't say is that he's not an innovative dude, because he is. And he definitely understands the game of football. Regardless as to whether or not you agree with some of his decisions, he established a culture. And that's what he's going to continue to work on. What we learned was that he meant what he said about not just participating. We go out to win. Whether or not you liked him calling a timeout on that last possession before the field goal, truth of the matter is this. If his goal was to go out there and set out the best run defense to stop a play that he felt was coming, even though it didn't work, if we're going to go by strictly what he's saying, then he's sticking to his guns. He wants to win. So he planned to go out there, stop them, and then, wherever the chips fell from that point is where they fell. But he didn't want to just acquiesce and give into whatever the moment called for, because it's what everyone else thought it was supposed to be. So I respect him for that. And you're going to stick by your guns, then I honor that as well. I mean, be a man of your word. If that's what you're going to be, then be that. The second you start compromising, then people start questioning you. You don't want to be that guy. It's the quickest way to find yourself in the bad graces of fans, maybe even your organization. So hats off to Brandon Staley and the effort that he put forward in year 1. I'm very happy that he's our head coach, and I look forward to what he's going to bring to this team moving forward, because I think there's going to be drastic improvement. I see probably some significant turnover on the defensive side of the ball, and they're going to do what they have to do to help Herbert out, because, they said at the beginning of the year, the offense is going to be built around him. So I have, a ton of confidence in the fact that Staley's going to do all he can to provide what he said that he wanted to. That faith lies in Staley. Notice I said Staley. We'll see where it goes from there, but you guys get what I'm getting at. Add to that, there were some guys that showed some tremendous improvement this year. We're talking Chinna, Kaiser, Nas, Jerry Tillery, hell, Trey Pipkins. And that's a nod to the coaching staff. And again, feather in the cap of Brandon Staley for hiring the right guys. We've not seen player development to this degree in quite some time. As a matter of fact, some of the names I just rattled off have been on the roster for a few years, and they've either been stagnant or come very close to the B word. So I'm looking forward to seeing how things materialize over the course of the next few years. I've been saying it for a while now. I thought this team was a year away anyways. So next year, I'm expecting some real growth, particularly on the defensive side of the ball, because they're probably going to make some moves in the interior and get the edge guy some help. So that means a better Joey, a better Chinna, should he be re-signed, and yes, he should, along with whomever else they bring in, which is going to help out the back end, and be some changes there as well. So guys, keep your heads up about it. I know that this year was kind of all over the place. You dealt with the glass case of emotion. I get it. I was right there with you. But don't give up on your team, man. It's trending up. This year was by no means a failure. Again, it didn't end the way we wanted it to, but hey, that's fandom. That's being, behind an organization, behind a football team 100%. You're going to have to deal with the ups and downs. I sound like a broken record because I've said it a million times, but it's true. Ride with it, die with it. If you love it, you got to live with the results, good or bad. I will get you out of here on this. That was one hell of a season. And regardless as to how you feel about it, one thing's for certain. There's a lot to be optimistic about when it comes to the Los Angeles Chargers. And above all else, we got one hell of a swinging D at quarterback. And that always gives you a chance. So let's get through this little rough patch. Let's watch the playoffs. Even if you have to suffer through it, I know I will because I love the game of football, so I can't help it. Gotta watch. And we'll move into some draft stuff. Talk about some prospects. Dive into the roster and some other stuff around the league and players that may want to come to LA. And just keep it pushing like we always do. Fellas, Kev, Coach, Dub D, love you. What do you guys think about the prospects of this team moving into next year? Do you guys agree with me that they're probably a year away? Or do you think that there's a little bit more work to be done than even what I'm alluding to? Talk to me about how you're feeling. To the rest of you guys, you know what it is. Win, lose, even to the Raiders. Bowl gang or do not bang. Catch you on the next one. Okay, love you. Bye.
Thanks, Craig. That you got me all pumped up, dude. Got me all pumped up again for next season. Very well put, dude.
Yeah, it is wild to have it end as it did, because as we talked about what all had to occur in the previous episode, Steelers had to win and they took it to overtime and barely won by a kick. And then who saw the Jaguars just beating the snot out of the Colts? Like, that came out of nowhere. That was just like, okay, well,
yeah,
surely this won't go to overtime. And it's crazy how everything went in the direction that it did and ended up being what it was. And it's wild. But as far as the prospects for next year.
Yeah. I'm just pumped for him to I'm pumped to see what Justin does in basically the only first time in his career where he's been in the same system with the same offensive coordinator for 2 straight years.
Right.
As long as we can keep Lombardi, I want to see them build off of this to see where he started to where he was at the end. He's picking up that offense, and where is he going to even go from there? And then going off what Craig said, defense, man, let's just sign those guys that were stars this year, do what we got to do to bring those guys back, and then let's bring in some fresh blood that wants to come compete.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's going to be a pretty big overhaul on the team, but the core of what you would need to be a successful football team is there. Mm-hmm. You have Keenan, you have your quarterback, you have a defensive end pass rusher in Joey Bosa, you have an all-star safety in Derwin James. Our pieces that you need a franchise are there. And 2 of them are still reasonably inexpensive with Justin Herbert and Derwin James.
Right.
Both still on rookie type. I know Derwin got his 5th year add-on, but now is the time. Put all the chips in. We have to go overhaul this thing to get it to a place where it's not just good, but we should be a 12-13 win team next year. That's really what my expectation is going into next year. Coach, like Craig said, this is a first-year head coach, a fourth year in the NFL, 5th year in the NFL coach.
Right.
He started out great and we all got excited, but that's still the reality. He had a lot of stuff that he learned and grew in this year. And I think that next step is next year. I think 13 wins is where I'm at right now as far as expectation for where we'll be at, 13 plus wins.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
Yeah. And that we still had a winning season. We got to play the season all the way up to the very end with meaningful football. Whereas last season we were out by, the last couple games were just pointless, and we were talking about losing out so we could get a better draft pick, and we won. So it was
and of all the teams in the playoffs right now, we beat four out of the 7 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So you just look at the kind of our resume this year, it's still very impressive what we were accomplished. And I will never forget what we did against Kansas City that first game.
Yeah.
That is still
you got to see it in person.
The most unreal feeling. I'm very thankful for how some of these games went.
Yeah. It's just, I think that needs to be the constant, we had games where we dominated the Raiders. We kicked the crap out of them in that first game.
Yep.
We beat up the Chiefs, the Broncos. We dismantled this last time we played them. That has to be the consistent football that we play for 17 weeks.
Yep.
And that's what you see out of the Packers and out of the Bucs. These teams that are at the top of the league, they just do it consistently every week. They don't have these fall off duds completely blow a game. And that's what we had this year. So I think that's the evolution that we need to see coming to next year. And I expect to see is that we become a more consistent football team.
Yeah.
Amen.
Big time. Craig, thank you for reminding us
brother.
all to be shamelessly positive, because that is what we need to do right now. We need to hold our heads up high and remember who's on this team. We've got playmakers, and we're tied for the second most players that are going to be going to the Pro Bowl this year. So we've got guys, we've got some studs on this team, potentially more if we've got our alternates in there. So it's nothing to be ashamed of. So all right, well, now it's time to go on to Ask Boltfam. Let's see how it goes this week.
Time to put your money where your mouth is.
Hi, guys.
Go jam a thumb up his butthole. That's what you do.
I wet myself in excitement.
Oh, so hungry.
Your thoughts are like totally appreciated.
Catch you later, dude.
Okay, love you, boy. All right, gang. Well, a lot of you showed up for this Ask Boltfam. And
honestly, I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I was expecting like 5 or 6. Because I have been like hiding from all things social media for the last day. So power to you guys for getting right back on here and asking us some questions.
Yeah.
I think there's the energy. I think people we're coming together with people because we just need, and we all feel better when we can joke and have fun.
Right. Hopefully we can be that for you guys.
Yes.
The ray of sunshine that things will get better, that we will win a Super Bowl one day, just not this year.
Yeah.
Not this year.
Just not this year. It's not our year, guys. So, all right. Well, let's start it off with an old favorite of ours, Daniel Llewellyn, who asked the question, what's up, muchachos? So just because we wiped out and are paddling back to the mainland on a broken board with no fins does not mean we can fail to recognize that was one of the most epic games ever played. There was like 7 4th and 10 conversions. Crazy. Okay, later on, dudes.
It was
an epic wave.
It was a wild
epic
game.
Wave.
Man, the only thing, like if you win that game, I was like, babe, what do I do if we win? Like, how do I react? I'm like, I'm going to go outside and just start screaming. She's like, oh, but our neighbor. I'm like, you know what? Our neighbor.
Jail time. Worth it.
Call the cops. They dare you. They're probably Charger fans too.
So yeah,
and we got on. Remember when we got on on FaceTime? I think you called us Wooly. It was right after we scored that touchdown.
It was unbelievable that we were still in the game. That was it. It was just like, okay, oh God, 4th down. Like I'm sitting in my chair, just like I'm doing this. Like I'm like talking into my hands. Just like, please get this for Herbert. Herbert's done so much this year. He deserves this. Please let him do this. Like, and it was emotional because it was like Craig said, like it felt like by the 3rd quarter, like this is done. We're done.
Yeah.
Like this is a shitty game. It's just another shitty game and we're done. But the fact that we kept it going and kept it alive is nothing short of amazing. That was the craziest quarter ever.
Dude, I was like feeling down, and my 3rd child, we'll just call him, give him numbers. Number 3 came up. Number 3 came up and sat on my lap, and I just kind of gave him a hug. And right as I gave him a hug, we scored. I think we scored. So he couldn't leave me. So basically I was just like holding him, and I was just, each play got a little tighter. Was he fighting away? Was he trying to get away? He was like, he just like, no, it was like a cat when you grab him by the neck. They're just like,
okay.
Oh shit, Dad, what's up? But I held him for a whole overtime and 4th quarter pretty much. So thanks on that, number 3.
There you go. All right, Daniel Llewellyn, thank you for reminding us how crazy of a game that was. Let's move it on now to Bolts of Pain, who asked the question.
Fresh certified.
When does the pain stop?
Well, depends on who you are.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like, it's the game still sucks, but like, I don't feel the pain anymore.
I'm going to feel the pain until there's no more football games being played.
Yeah,
that's when I'm gonna. That's when as soon as the Super Bowl's done, that's when like it'll really feel like okay again.
That's a good call because when I watch the playoffs, because I will watch still because I'm a football fan.
Sure, yeah.
When I watch the games, I'll be like, man, the Chargers should be playing right now.
Yeah,
or like
Herbert.
any week that we watch, like, oh, we could have played with this team.
Exactly.
So I do. I think the pain will stop. Yeah, I agree. I thought the pain had stopped, but I think the pain's going to come back. It's going to flare up once the games start this weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that here's the hardest part. There's going to be pain for 31 teams. There's only one team that gets to celebrate.
Yeah, there's 31 teams that are going to be disappointed by the end of this season.
Yeah.
You know what's going to suck for the Raiders is they got this big, awesome win in their minds where they actually didn't do jack shit. They're going to go in there and get their asses stomped next week, and that's going to really hurt. And I look forward to seeing that.
There you go.
Go Bengals.
Go Bengals.
Go Burrow.
All right. Bolts of Pain, thank you for asking the question. Let's move it on now to Mark Busnelli Jr., who asked the question. Tough loss, fellow Boltsmen. Are any of you curious why we didn't put Pipkins in for Storm last night? K loves you, bye. I mean, that was a little surprising.
I don't know. You just don't see position switch outs on the offensive line unless somebody gets hurt.
Okay.
It doesn't. I don't even remember the last time I've ever seen a guy get benched for poor play and bring in another guy that's on the offensive line.
I think it's something to be said too. Is like we got to remember that we don't like to really look at the Raiders players, but
Crosby's no joke, man.
He's no joke. He's one of the best in the league right now, and I think if you put anybody out there, they're going to have trouble. Storm didn't do good, and I don't think that that's not a matchup that's great for any of our guys that are currently on our roster at right tackle. So,
right. And obviously our coaches believe Storm Norton's better than Trey Pipkins, or else Trey Pipkins would have been starting. So there's no point in a middle of the game, hope this works switch, because it could have been worse.
Right.
And we're all kind of slightly into Pipkins right now. Don't ruin that.
4-5 weeks ago, if you would have, this question would have never been asked on Ask Boltfam.
That's very true. That's very true.
No, never would have happened.
He played 2 good games, and now we're like, he's the next coming of
We're
Rashawn
good at
Slater.
right tackle. We're solid.
Yeah, we're solid. We don't need any help.
Yeah, all good. Yeah, I was a little surprised about that, but I didn't realize that was the situation as far as like you don't just switch them out like that. But
I don't think Kevin, do you remember a time that you've ever seen that happen? I don't. O-line is just like these are our best guys. Go get it.
That's just I don't remember ever seeing that.
Okay,
it's like running backs. It happens if you fumble, you get benched sometimes.
Sure.
Quarterbacks, I guess, if they're just kind of on the border anyways. But yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen a tackle just straight bench for poor play.
No.
All right. Well, there you go, Mark Busnelli Jr. We all learned something today. Let's move it on now to Fifth.
Certified Fresh.
Who asked the question? Why did the coaching staff refuse to use tight ends to chip Max Crosby? The Raiders used it effectively against Bosa all game. Even when it was obvious Storm Norton was struggling, they gave him no help.
Yeah, so they did help. There were plays there where they were chipping. It wasn't as consistent as what the Raiders did to Bosa. The Raiders basically said Bosa beat us last game, so they took him out of the game, even though he did still
got a strip sack.
Yeah. But yeah, they did. Like there was a couple, but I agree. There was times where they would line the tight up down really tight, almost like he was gonna chip and he wouldn't. I don't know if they were trying to play mind games, like, "Hey Max, we're coming." Just kidding. No, we're not. But anytime you do that, you basically take a tight end out of the route because that chip slows everything down, and that means you're saying the other 3 pass rushers that are coming aren't going to get there, because if that tight end chips, those other 3 guys got to hold up on their own for him to get back out into the route. And we threw for 380 yards because we had guys in routes and opportunities to get open. So yeah, the chips, they did it a couple, but I agree. I would have liked to see more chips and just take the extra guy out of the route. Our tight ends, I mean, Jared Cook had an okay game, but I think Mike Williams was the leading receiver, so just let the tight end sit in there a little bit more.
Didn't Cook have another drop? I remember having a moment like, God damn it, Cook, you son of a...
I think he did.
I remember
I think everyone had a drop.
Yeah, I think it wasn't just limited to him, but
yeah, I think
Cook
had a drop.
Performed.
Mike Williams had a couple drops.
Yeah, Keenan did have a bad drop.
Yeah, but I think Palmer had a drop. I don't know. I feel like there was just drop. Eckler had a drop. Everyone was dropping balls.
Yeah.
Guyton was the only one not dropping balls and making. Remember that one catch on the sideline?
He
that
had
fourth
big
down
catches. Yeah,
like big time
big
plays.
catches.
Like I wouldn't be mad about bringing Guyton back next year with kind of how we finished out that season. Like he became a clutch guy there.
This is going to be such an intense offseason.
There's
so much that's going to change. You're going to have to let some of these guys go because Guyton was on a undrafted free agent cheap deal. He's going to get way more than he's getting paid right now.
I guess another way to look at it is you got Justin Herbert. You get a good receiver out there. He'll make him look great.
Right. Yeah. Seeing Palmer get out there and making plays is very promising for the future with him being on the team. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. Fifth. Thank you for asking the question. Let's move on now to the Chargers nerd, aka Daniel, who asked the question.
Guys, we love the Chargers, and we also love the Charger Chat crew. Did you know that? Well, it's true. Can't love you, bye.
Aww.
Thanks, Daniel. Love you too, brother.
That was sweet of you to say.
Sweet. Yeah, I feel happy.
Yeah. Yay.
The pain's gone.
But honestly, I was just talking to Adam about this, like just getting together and talking. Like I know it's stupid, and I was like, I don't want to do this tonight. As soon as I got here, my whole vibe changed, and stuff like that just makes me feel so much better. So thanks, Daniel.
There you go. All right. Thank you for asking the question, Daniel, if whether or not we knew, because, well, if we didn't before, now we do. So thank you for that. Let's move it on now to B.O. Ya. B.O. Ya?
Fresh.
Yeah.
Like
all right. Who asked the question? Should we have gone for 2 at the end of regulation? I think so. Put destiny in the hands of the offense, not the defense, in overtime.
Yeah,
I mean, it was
a little bit.
It harkened back to that game against the Chiefs that we had when we did go for 2 to put it away with Mike Williams getting the catch. But I mean, at that point, you're putting everything on one play. Like win or lose, you go home.
Yeah.
So I mean, I get the mentality. It's certainly something that we've seen before, but it's such a rare occasion that
there's a part of me though that like literally everything was working. Like they were 6 for 6.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk
down.
about keeping the momentum going, that would have absolutely been a part of that.
Like you want to put it in your best player's hands. Like there's it's so easy after the fact to be like, that's the area. That's where you do it. That's where you do it right there.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, we got down there and we did that. And I was like, oh God, just get us into overtime. Like that was what was on my mind.
Right.
Yeah, I think there would have been a lot more upset fans, commentators, everything if we had gone for it and not gotten it. Because you say we have the momentum. Our offense is driven down the field twice in a row, 70+ yard drives for touchdowns. And their offense hadn't really been doing anything in the last couple drives of the fourth quarter. You have all the momentum. You think you should be able to get it done in overtime. So I think it was the conservative move, and it is a little bit against the Brandon Staley mantra of put the game in your best player's hands.
Mm-hmm.
But I understand why he did it. But looking back now, obviously, I'm like, yeah, should have gone for it.
Yeah.
Well, just to see him scramble on that first one and like he just got it to Austin out of nowhere, just a broken play.
He was getting tackled, falling down, and threw a perfect ball low and outside for Eck. Yeah.
Just.
Yeah, you got to get 3 yards to win the game, or you go into overtime and you got to have a 75-yard drive. So it would have been, looking back now, it's like, yeah, you should have gone for it. But
hindsight.
I think coach learns from it, and next year maybe you see it.
Right. So there you go, B.O. Ya. Thank you for asking the question. Let's move it on now to Timo Kaiser, who asks the question. The podcast is only so long, Kevin.
I don't know. Come back to me.
Come back to me. Everyone else go first.
Thoughts on this tweet by Coach Dungy last night. Tony Dungy tweeted out the pass interference call on the Chargers at the end of the first half was an uncatchable ball. That last holding penalty, Waller starts out blocking. The defender sheds him and rushes the passer. That is not holding. 7 to 10 points at least on very bad calls.
Thanks, Tony.
Yeah, tell us something we don't know, man. That was
it's a neutral watcher, isn't have a stake in the Chargers or the Raiders. I retweeted this because it's like I hadn't really thought about it. I just kind of moved on. Some bad calls happen. It's just part of the game of football. You can't use that as an excuse for why we lost.
Right.
But yeah, that sucks, obviously, because those are completely true. Like that Raider was never going to catch that ball. He just threw his hands up like a little baby and tried to draw a full call.
Just ragdolled. Yeah.
And then, Darren Waller, if you're blocking and we think that you're pass blocking, you're allowed to grab him and throw him out of the way. And so that's just what he did. So yeah, questionable calls, but they were called. And that was early in the game. You have plenty of time to respond and make up for it. So sucks, but it is what it is. It's football.
There you go.
And I'm going to say it, certified fresh. Done.
All right. There you go. Timo Kaiser.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking the question. Let's move it on now to Kevin E. Fisk Jr., who asked the question. Can we get a referee recap from Coach Kyle sometime this week? Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
So I don't know. I mean, ref recap, boy, that would be pretty painful, I think.
That'd
be Kyle.
I'd be interested to find out like the breakdown of it. Like you just saying that he engaged and could have held that block. Like I want to visually see what that is. So next time we get on a call, I want to be like, yep, that's fucking wrong. And I know.
Wrong
Coach
again.
told me. Coach taught me a lesson.
Yeah, we got a long off season. Maybe one of these weeks I'll toss in a look. I just don't want to watch this game again. That's the hard part.
No, not just this game. Every bad call against us this season. We're counting on you.
That'd be great. That'd be super fun.
That'd be the whole
What a
episode.
depressing week that would be a watching tape.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't wish that on Coach Kyle, but he might take a look at it there, Kevin. So thank you for asking the question. Let's move it on now to Rivers Lake Lifeguard, who asked the question.
Certified fresh.
Sure you don't want to check your notes there?
I tried. I'm just winging it.
Crikey! Yeah, why was there no penalty for the Raider player taking off their helmet? Was he jamming his thumb up his butthole or something, or what?
Yeah, that was Darius Philon that did that, and yeah, I don't know why.
I don't know. I've seen it a lot lately. I've seen helmets just popping off, and they kind of have pushed that penalty to the side. Right now, they're more worried about if you say another word to the other team and you get a taunting penalty. It just seems like every year the NFL has these points of emphasis. They go, hey, this is the penalty you have to call every time. This is a point of emphasis you have to call it. This year it's taunting, and we've seen it's ridiculous. A couple of years ago, it was the helmet thing, and they've kind of lost sight of it, and it feels like they just don't call it anymore.
Maybe next year we'll be not calling stupid-ass penalties on the Chargers. Maybe they'll put an emphasis on that.
Yeah, we had over 100 yards in penalties last night.
And there wasn't one holding penalty against the Raiders when they were dealing with Joey Bosa all night. There's so many times I watched it, just a hand reach out and just grab Joey and just pull him. Like, just bullshit.
Yeah, it was rough.
We still lost. It's not the reason why we lost.
I've kind of just given up on referees and penalties. That is a dark, dark place to start getting, like, going back and looking at missed calls and bad calls. It's like, there's nothing we can do. The referees are going to be bad a lot. You have to find a way to overcome it. That's just kind of the bottom line.
Right.
It's just a dark alleyway full of this angry zebras just foaming at the mouth.
Yeah.
It is. From it. I mean, especially when they don't get held accountable. So to get upset about it when you know that nothing is really going to happen. That is a dark hole to get into.
I promise you that referee crew is not going to be the refs for the Super Bowl.
No, nope.
That's your only consequence is you don't get the big games.
Not if Tony Dungy has anything to say about it.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. Rivers Lake Lifeguard. Thank you for asking the question. Let's move it on now to Blonded Surfer.
Yeah.
Who asked the question. Lombardi's call on 4th and 1 inside our 20 was terrible. Going forward was questionable as it is, but for Lombardi to call the exact same run to the left side on both 3rd and 4th dunes surprised nobody. Why not call a bootleg, a fullback dive with neighbors? You're asking Eck to cover 5 to 6 yards for a 1-yard gain when our O-line has been playing below average. Then 3rd and 6 in overtime happened. Lombardi calls a jump ball to Mike. Why? Your team, your mantra, been all about trusting your offense to convert 4th downs and score TDs. So why didn't Lombardi call a simple toss to Eck that gets you 3 to 4 yards? Heck, maybe even a 1st down that gives 4 more shots to score a touchdown and end the game. At least that way you can think about going for it on 4th and short. It's like the Chargers curled up and played not to lose instead of playing to win. The defense wasn't so hot either, so I don't see why they don't just win the game with Herbert, who was on fire, instead of trusting the abysmal disaster that was the defense. How do you guys feel about Lombardi as a situational play caller? It seems to me he gets very conservative when he's in tight spots.
I think, personally, I think Lombardi had a lot asked to him this year in terms of like, there's probably situations where he was asked to go for it on 4th down that he had never even considered in the past.
Yeah, you got to get as a play caller, you got to get used to that. You got to get comfortable with having those calls in your back pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I agree with you to go running up the middle twice when it didn't work the first time is kind of bizarre. And I watched that play again, and
that was a bad play call.
Just the fake, just like I wanted to see some more Justin Herbert keepers. Like the guy's got legs, and they brought everybody down into that box. So I kind of have to agree with you there, Blonded Surfer.
I don't mind the Mike Williams throw, and again, I don't have the play in front of me. I don't remember. That was such an emotional watch. I wasn't looking at all of those things.
You were running up down your hallways. You weren't even watching that play.
I was crying, about to throw up, crap my pants, all of it at the same time. But I don't know if Justin just saw the matchup and said, "Hey, let's go." Right. I don't know if Lombardi called like, "Hey, throw it to Mike." It may have been something he checked into because he saw the matchup he wanted. He said, "Let's go get this thing," and maybe he was just being ultra aggressive. So there's sometimes, coach, that 4th down, bad. But the 3rd and 6 jump ball, you can't say that was a bad play call because that could hit. I mean, Mike, that's like we talk about all the time. That's 70-30 ball. I'll take that, especially if it was a 1-on-1, nobody over the top, Mike against a shorter guy, a Brandon face on. Like we didn't want face on. We cut him because he wasn't good. So that should be a matchup that you go try to take advantage of.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, there you go, Blonded Surfer. Thank you for asking the question. Let's move it on now to Gavin Gibson, who asked the question. Do you trust the Raiders were going to take the knee for a tie? I don't think they would have, especially for a divisional opponent. I'm still shamelessly positive, though. We played amazing this season with a new head coach, system, etc. Bring on next year. Bolt up. K-love you, bye. Yeah, baby.
Thank you.
All right. There you go. Take the knee for a tie. No, I don't trust it. No.
They were never.
Dude, they didn't want to play the Chiefs.
No, it was a 50-something yard field goal attempt.
Yeah.
So, like, even if they didn't get another yard on that 3rd down run, they still would have run the clock down and kicked the field goal. That is what it is.
They missed the field goal. They're still in the playoffs. It was a win-win for them.
Right.
But I mean, I guess if they take a knee, Coach Daly would have called a timeout. You know, like, what do you mean take a knee? They were never going to take a knee on 3rd down. That would have never happened. Coach Daly would have taken the timeout, forced him to punt, and then we would have gone and tried to do something. So the taking a knee thing, Derek Carr is just being a big douchebag, to be honest. They were going to run the ball no matter what.
Yeah. So we don't trust Raiders any further than we can throw them. So
definitely not Marv from Home Alone.
No, he's a wet bandit.
He's a wet bandit.
Kevin Gibson, thank
Sticky
you
bandit.
for asking it. Well, depending on which movie you watch. Thank you for asking the question. Let's move it on now to Tyler Neiman, who asked the question. Hey guys, I want to talk about the timeout in overtime. I feel like it was a good decision because if they don't give up a 10-yard run, it's a longer field goal. My question is, how long is the field goal if they get stopped instead of gaining 10 yards? baby. Well, I think it was a 8-yard run that they had. So, I mean, if you stop them right at the line, it would have been a 59-yarder or something
that guy
like that.
can still make that kick. Like we're trying to pretend like that run was going to stop them from making. The guy has kicked over 60 before, so it's like they put that line. The thing what's tough about watching it on TV is like they put that line to get to, and then that's where it's in your mind. You're like automatically he can make it from there. No, that's like his like average where he can do it from.
He's going to make it 80% of the time.
80% of the time, but
he
before
can
that,
make it 60
he can still make that. And as soon as we let them drive down to the 50, I was like, "Fuck! Like this sucks." They're gonna kick a field goal. Yeah. I could feel it happening as soon as we got to midfield. It was a bummer, man.
It is a bummer, but hey, Tyler Neiman, thank you for asking the question. Let's move it on to Grown Up Gambino, who asked the question.
Dudes, why is everyone hung up on the timeout?
Because it was the biggest narrative leading into the game. It's what I've come to find as we do this podcast and we make these outlines and we kind of see what things are talked about and how they're played out. If there's a narrative that happens before the game, they're gonna run with it afterwards. It's just the reality of it. And the fact
they're just
that
watching the game, waiting for the narrative.
They have it set up. That's what they're going to talk about, or a version of whatever happened in that situation. So like they were just ready. Like 5 to 10 people asked Coach Staley about the scenario from all over the different interviews he had. It was just meant to be. So people are getting hung up on it because it's a fucking lazy take, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, it's funny to me to see the videos of the lip reading of like what this person might have said. Like there was one of Austin Eckler talking to, I think it was Max Crosby. I'm not 100% sure, but it was something like somebody like was lip reading like of Austin Eckler going, "You were going to take a knee? Damn."
Hopefully they do one of those lip readings. Remember those lip
the funny
readings
ones? Yeah.
Of this game. That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome.
And Derek Carr
see what it was. Yeah. But yeah, it is what it is. It's like Kevin said, it's the narrative. It's what it was last week, was that the possibility of even a tie happening. Like that was the narrative, and everybody grabbed onto that, and that's what everybody was talking about.
You could have had your tie if you didn't take a timeout.
Right. If y'all just would have taken a knee from start to finish.
I don't get it. Like, okay, when a team takes a knee, what do? They get in a very specific formation, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Were the Raiders in that formation?
No.
So why are we thinking that they were going to take a knee? I don't know. Where is that coming from?
Right.
I don't know.
They were never going to take it. They were going to run the ball no matter what.
Right.
So we took a timeout to get our best defenders on the field to defend the run. Like, why is this rocket science? What are we looking for?
I feel like
here?
I'm taking crazy pills over here.
We're trying to crack the Da Vinci Code over something that's so just plain.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's all getting blown out of proportion, but that's the narrative. Everybody's grabbed onto it like a dog with a bone, and it is what it is. But hey, Grown Up Gambino, thank you for asking the question. Let's move it on now to Shamelessly Positive Ryan, who asked the question. Just like everyone else, this one stings like hell, and it will for a while. This loss does feel different, though. Gut-wrenching losses of seasons past left me feeling hopeless and frustrated. Although we didn't get the W and it was versus the Raiders, seeing Herbert shine and carry this team from the brink has me feeling hopeful and optimistic. While others may bash Staley for his coaching decisions, I, for one, back the coach 100%. Staley and Herbert have turned hope into belief. I don't hope that the Chargers can contend anymore. I believe they can. I believe they can go toe-to-toe with the best in the league. And I believe they will take us to the promised land. My question is this. Do you guys plan on renewing your season tickets? And do you plan on attending any games away next season? Thank you for the season-long coverage through the highs and the lows. Thank you for helping bring this amazing Bolt fam together through the podcast. Till next season, K love you, bye, and bolt the fuck up.
Yeah.
All right. Shamelessly positive, Ryan. Thank you, buddy, for reminding us to believe.
Gotta believe.
Gotta believe.
And we're not going anywhere. We're gonna keep rolling. These episodes are gonna still coming out twice a week.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not over yet, but yes.
The season tickets, I mean, my fandom has not changed because we didn't make the playoffs. We lost to the Raiders last night. So
the question is, are we gonna get closer to the field? It's not, are we going to have the tickets? It's how close will the tickets be to the field?
And then the away game, we always want to go to the Kansas City game because Kevin in Missouri.
Right.
I can get tickets pretty easy there. So hopefully,
as long as the scheduling and timing works out.
Right.
There's not really any other real fun. I'm looking at the away games that we have coming up this year. It's obviously our divisional teams. They got the Cardinals, Texans, Colts, Niners, Falcons, Browns, and nothing really jumping out there as far as where I would want to go hang out in a city for a week.
Casey's fun, dude, because we get the Airbnb. We're there for like a day and a half before. It's like, I think we do it next year. We do KC, and then we have like a Charger Chat like rager, and have Charger Chatteteers come over and let's party.
Oh shit! You are not getting your deposit back on that Airbnb, my friend.
Just plan for it.
Put it in Kevin's name.
There you go.
Yeah, put it in my name. I never use Airbnb.
All right. Shamelessly positive, Ryan. Thank you for asking the question, buddy. Let's move it on now to Señor Snappy, who asked the question.
This loss hurts more than most I can remember. Merlin McCree needs to make this right. We need to run the damn fumble back, and he needs to go down. Then, just maybe, our narrative will change and we'll get over this hump. Or is it a hump? We've won the playoff games. We've won playoff games since.
Yeah, there's no curse. Like, there's nothing over our heads. We went in 2018 when we beat the Ravens in the first round of the playoffs. So we won playoff games. We got to have a complete team and go do this thing. And I do think that next year consistency is it's going to come.
Yeah.
You got a 30-year quarterback who's been all world his first 2 years.
Right.
Going to have the same system, hopefully. Hopefully he gets the same coordinators again. Who knows? All these
same QB
all these
coach.
head coaches are getting fired left and right when they're 9-8, and just so who knows? Maybe Lombardi will be a head coach somewhere, but hopefully it's the same.
I want
system.
Lombardi back.
Yeah,
don't say that. I don't want that.
All right.
Just because I say something doesn't mean I want it, Kevin.
Just don't say it.
All right, just shut up. Go eat a burrito. Shut up.
All right, Senior Snappy, thank you for asking the question. Let's move it on now to Swim Shady, and shout out to Jay Tex, who I believe is certified fresh. But going with Swim Shady on this one, and the question goes something like this.
I still can't believe we got to witness one of the greatest games in NFL history. We don't deserve Justin. Our boys fought till the very end. They left it all out there. Receivers were super tired and still fought. Question is, how do you get through these tough losses?
Right here.
Right here, baby.
Yeah, this is how.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
Even when we don't want to come on here, just sucking it up and talking to my friends about the Chargers makes it feel better.
Big time.
I was in a shit mood. And I usually do the fan focus interviews right before we do this recording. So that's like I don't come in and see you guys. I came in and see people I've never met in my life. And somehow that interaction just fires me up and I'm smiling. And I went back upstairs after I did that one today. And my wife was like, what happened? I'm like, you're in a good mood. I'm like, I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah. I find some friends to talk to if you can, even online. I mean, try to stay away from the salty takes and the upset folk. But if you can find some shamelessly positive friends to talk to, that's certainly one way. And, take some positive affirmations and take some stock about, some of the things that, really do matter. Not that the Chargers don't, but at the end of the day, it's out of our hands. Like we have no control over how this team plays a game or how the game goes. So, just try to have fun. Try to get a good hobby. Maybe start some trains or something. I don't know.
And there you go. I'm gonna miss these Sundays, man. There's something about it.
It is. It did kind of take us a bit by surprise because I think we didn't walk in this game thinking it was an automatic win, but we were pretty high. We were pretty confident. So for it to end, it ended pretty quickly for us. It was a shocking game, an exciting game, but a shocking game all the same. So yeah, it is that realization that like, wow, okay, so it is officially the off season. We're there.
Shit.
Damn. Okay.
Shit.
Well, let's move on. Let's keep moving forward. So
yeah.
All right. There you go, Swim Shady and J Tex. Thank you guys for asking the question. Let's move it on now to Gray Hair.
Certified fresh.
Who asked the question? In the scheme of everything, where does Herbert's season rank to y'all?
Don't ask me. That's one of the highlights of this season for me has been watching him play quarterback.
I mean, if you just look at his numbers, it's the best season he's had in his professional career.
But I think he's comparing it to like
all the Chargers.
Yeah, what he did in that fourth quarter, man. Like I was already high on it, but like what he did was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. I've never experienced. I love Phil to death. I've never experienced that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I 100%
just
agree.
Unbelievable what happened.
He surpassed Phil's touchdown record in the same amount of games. So even with this extra game, he had already beaten that record. So yeah, no, I think
it was one of the all-time great Charger quarterback seasons.
Yeah, by far. I mean, just setting records.
Quarterback drives of all time.
Yeah.
The only thing that wasn't there was the wins.
Yeah.
A big part of a quarterback is, does your team win football games? And you can't put that all on a quarterback, obviously, but
right.
That's somehow comes along with it. It's why people question Phil's career because he never won the big game and
right.
All that kind of thing. But I mean, Justin Herbert, we've never won a Super Bowl, so no Charger quarterback can ever say that. So he's got to be one of the greatest like quarterback seasons so far in Charger history for sure.
Easily.
For sure.
Yeah.
Just stat wise, you look at it and what he's done.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, and you continue to look at Herbert, the guy, the guy that you see in those post-game interviews, the guy who is incredibly humble, doesn't have a chip on his shoulder, is a team player. You're not seeing that from every quarterback. You're not seeing that from guys that have been in the league for a long time. And he's a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
And,
look at Aaron Rodgers. He's made himself public enemy number one to everyone.
Yeah.
Nobody likes that guy.
Yeah. So we're not in that situation. And I don't think we ever will be. I would be shocked if we ever had a season where Herbert all of a sudden became some kind of an asshole. It doesn't have that in his DNA. Like I can't even picture it. It's not even possible. So, yeah, one of the best seasons by far. So Gray Hair, thank you for asking the question. Let's move it on now to Z the King 1 and shout out to 808 Kicks 420 who asked the question. Do you guys see us making coordinator changes, especially in light of Vic Fangio, Brian Flores, and Mike Zimmer being fired? And would you be okay with the change? And hypothetically speaking, if we were to change our offensive, defensive, and special teams coordinators, who were your guys' ideal picks?
I want Justin to have 2 years with the same coordinator.
Yeah,
so I'm just
Lombardi's
not
going anywhere. I just don't like. The offense was good. We were ranked up there in the top 5, 10 in most categories. So the offense, I don't see change. The defense now, that's where things could mix up.
Potentially, yeah.
I don't see Vic Fangio coming in. I don't think Staley's going to give up control of play calling. And a Vic Fangio type's not going to come in and just do all the work during the week and not call plays. So I don't see that. But maybe there's potential for something to happen there. But I don't think that's going to happen either. I think the coordinators are going to stay the same. And I just think it's going to be a big personnel as far as player turnover.
Well, and look at the coach. They coached them up pretty well this year. Like you had players on both sides of the balls. That's what coaches do. They excelled and they had some of the best seasons they've had as Chargers. So I think that has a lot to say about what the coordinators and coaching staff's doing. So it's easy to say the defense didn't play well. So then therefore it's the defensive coordinator. We'll find out next year. Because if they get new players and they still have a problem, that's when you can easily pull the ripcord.
The other thing is sometimes coaches choose to leave. It's not that we're firing them. It's that an opportunity comes up somewhere else that they like better than what they have. So it would obviously, I think, I don't know how the coaches interact. It seems like they get along well, and Staley I would assume is a fun guy to coach for, but unless it's like a vertical moving up and becoming a head coach or like a position coach that gets the coordinator opportunity. That's all potential too. Sometimes it's out of our hands if we're going to keep a coach.
There you go. All right. Well, Z the King 1, thank you for asking the question. And 808 Kicks 420, pretty sure you're certified fresh. Thank you for asking the same question as well. Let's move it on now to Super Bolt's Champs, who asked the question. Oh, man, this one hurts. But what's next for our Bolts? New D coordinator? Brian Flores got fired today. So I guess my real question, what would he bring as a coordinator? It was fun to listen to you guys. Keep up the great work. And now more than ever, D Raiders. Okay, love you, boy.
Don't you think Flores is going to get another head coaching job? Like,
yeah, he's going to be a head coach. Yeah,
right.
He's going to be a head coach for sure.
Crazy that he got let go. Like after beating the New England Patriots twice, going on that run,
going 8-1 to finish the season after starting 1-7.
Yeah,
the guy's going to be a head coach somewhere for sure. Somebody will give him an opportunity. There's so many vacancies popping up, and one day after the season's over, I think he could end up. Minnesota's got an opening. That seems like it could be a pretty easy fit. They got a good team. They just need somebody to go and shake things up a little bit. So yeah, I think he'll be a head coach.
There's more than a few teams that have some openings right now. So obviously, I think some of these guys could just end up switching teams in their head coaching ability. As far as what he would bring as a coordinator, I don't even know. Like, I don't know what his...
Do they run similar schemes? Because I'm just curious how that works because, Staley calls the plays. So what do you want in bringing in a new defensive coordinator? Is he going to relinquish play calling duties? Like I think that's the first question.
Sure. Yeah. I think it's a valid question. I have no idea what Brian Flores would necessarily bring to the table that somebody else wouldn't. So if it's not even similar.
He's never been a coordinator. I'm looking at his
get out of here
coaching resume right now. He was defensive assistant for the Patriots, safeties coach for the Patriots, linebackers coach for the Patriots, and then he became a head coach. So
wow.
I don't know a whole lot about Brian Flores. I don't know if he's been a coordinator while a head coach, similar to what Staley does.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Staley's not going to give up the reins of play calling, is what it sounds like. You're not
not after a year like that. He wants to prove it for sure.
You're not going to get an experienced, solidified defensive coordinator in the NFL coming to be the work Monday through Saturday, and then Coach Staley gets to call the plays on Sunday. That's a guy that's still trying to prove himself, is still earning his name, not a Brian Flores type.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, there you go. Super Bolt's Champs. Thank you for asking the question. Let's move on now to Philip Musau, who asked the question.
Okay.
Do the Chargers need to replace our defensive coordinator or stick with him another year and get the players Staley wants for the system?
I'm waiting. I don't know. There's something about consistency. There just hasn't been a lot of it.
Right.
Let's see what little consistency does for this team.
And I don't know how much Ronaldo Hill did.
It's hard to say.
We don't know what kind of an impact that he really had. I mean, Staley was in all of the decision making, and maybe Ronaldo Hill was more like a communicator with the position coaches and accumulating information. He probably did a lot of scouting work and things like that. But as far as coming up with game plan and then calling plays, I'm assuming Staley had a lot to do with all of that. So I don't know how much changing that coordinator position, unless he just didn't get along with Staley. I don't see what big of a change that really makes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was interesting, looking back at the season now, thinking about it. Like, they would cut to Staley on the camera, they would cut to Lombardi up in the booth. I can't recall one time they cut to Ronaldo Hill on the sideline, like with a headset and anything.
Very rarely got press conferences either.
Yeah,
right. So it's hard to say what, like Kyle said, what his it makes me think of Office Space. Like, what would you say that you do here?
Yeah,
who's really says what his contribution was to the team. So obviously that would be a decision made by Staley and upper management and everything like that. So as far as whether or not we should keep him, I think let's keep it consistent for this guy, unless there's somebody out there that can actually bring something new and different that Staley is in agreement with. I don't see any reason why you would change out these coordinators. So
unless Staley's going to give up control of play calling,
right? And that would have to happen as well. So But it's a great question, Philip Massot. Thank you for asking the question. Let's move it on now to Dirty Sock 101, who asked the question.
Of course, I was sad and would have liked to see the Bolts go on a run in the postseason, but this game convinced me that we have one of the best QBs in the entire league, and we are going to be a threat to win the AFC West for 10 or more years to come. My question is, what are at least two reasons for optimism besides Herbert for this team going forward?
Don't say Herbert, Kev.
Joey Bosa,
Derwin James, Corey Lindsley, Rashawn Slater.
Yeah.
Rashawn Slater, big time.
Asante Samuel Jr. We got
It's
a lot of young studs, you know?
Yeah.
So it's there's a lot of reasons for optimism.
Right.
We just got to become a more consistent football team. And I think our head coach maturing and having a system in place, a culture in place, we got to see that come next year. And I think that's when it will come. So there's a lot of reason for optimism.
Big time. Yeah, I think one of the narratives in this season was Mike Tomlin, the coach for the Steelers, has never had a losing season. He's had a winning season every time he's played. So far, Brandon Staley has never had a losing season. So I think this could be the start of something big.
How many Pro Bowlers do we have, right?
More than we've had in a very long time.
Every single one of those Pro Bowlers is a reason to be optimistic.
Yeah, there's 6 Pro Bowlers plus I think 5 alternates. So there's a lot of reasons to be really happy with this team. And we're going into an offseason where we're getting 11 draft picks, which is crazy to have 11 draft picks going into there and over 70 million cap space. Yeah. So there's a lot of things to be really excited and optimistic for. But thank you for asking the question, Dirty Sock 101. Let's move it on to Kyle T, who asked the question.
Oh, obviously not the end of the season we were hoping for. But I believe we can and will learn from this season and get better. To that end, what do you think the strategy should be in the draft? Hoo-ha! I think building the O-line should be the priority in the first round. How about you? Oh, yeah. And even though we lost the game, I hereby say Justin be known as Clutchin' Herbert. Because that drive to get to overtime was ridiculous. Bolt the up. Hoo-ha!
Clutched in Herbert. I like it.
Clutched in. I like it. He is fucking clutched in.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to get, obviously, I know you guys are all there. We're all starting to get there as far as the draft and free agency and all those things.
Right.
But yeah, O-line, D-line is where it's at. I think whatever the best available is at 17.
Yeah.
Last time we picked 17, we got Derwin James. So if there's a Derwin James sitting there that somehow drops, you're going to draft him.
But I like it.
No, but I mean a position where you're not expecting.
Sure.
If somebody drops to that place, you're going to take him. So
right.
But yeah, I think that O-line, right tackle, we had, as much as we kind of forgot, we had 2 of our starting offensive linemen out most of the whole season. Ode Ibushi and Bulaga missed most of the whole season.
Yeah.
So there's definitely depth and holes that are going to be filled. I think Schofield was only on a 1-year deal. We picked him up halfway through the season, and I think we just signed him through the year. And then, so yeah, there's holes to fill on the offensive line for sure. And then D-line, we gotta play better against the run. So we gotta get some big boys down there.
Right.
I think you're gonna have the first 2 rounds. You're gonna have starters come out. I don't know what that position. I think it's gonna be best available. I'm hoping it's some variation of what you said, Kyle, where it's right tackle or defensive line. But then we also got to keep in mind the free agency pool.
Yeah,
they're going to be able to build. I really want to see them build on defense. I want to see more free agents on defense and more depth and building our depth with the 11 picks, not needing all these guys to start, but bringing in a lot of these guys to backup guys we already have to really finally have some depth on this team, which we haven't had really.
Right. So, all right, Kyle T, there you go. Thank you for asking the question. Let's move it on now to Bolt Gang, who asked the question. We have a bright future ahead. Nothing but up from here. What position would you like to pick up first in the draft? And what was one thing that stood out to you the most in yesterday's game? K, love you, bye.
I want right tackle or somebody to compliment Joey Bosa. Those are my first
pass rush.
Yeah, 17. Like if you can find like I don't know if right tackle really goes that high in the first round unless there's some stud. We haven't really gotten into it, but somebody to complement Joey, so we can really it'll take a lot of pressure off some other positions.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah. I like I said, there's like we already talked about. Free agency is going to shake up everything we need about the draft. But yeah, right tackle is kind of 17 is kind of early for a true right tackle. Left tackle has been sealed up for our franchise.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about that.
The foreseeable future.
Yeah.
So yeah, pass rusher or a dominant defensive lineman that can be that anchor inside to stop the running game.
Mm-hmm.
Your Georgia kid, everybody's talking about the mountain of a man.
He's just so freaking big, Jordan Davis. That's crazy. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, his combine is gonna his stock is gonna skyrocket. I think he's gonna be one of those guys that throughout the draft process, he's just gonna go up and up and up the draft board.
And we're talking about him now. Just get ready.
Yeah. I don't know if he'll be there at 17.
No.
And then as far as something that stood out to you most in yesterday's game,
Justin Herbert.
Herbert stands out obviously to anybody that has two sets of eyes is obviously going to see that. But
clutching.
To me, I know that we've seen sparks of it, but I think that Josh Palmer, man, coming up in those very crucial situations, especially near the end there, to keep us in the game, like. I'm excited for him to get a little bit more playtime. Like I'm all for keeping Guyton if the price is right, but if not, I am totally comfortable with Palmer coming in there and being the third consistently. So that stood out to me, and Austin Eckler, and seeing Austin Eckler's mom losing her mind in the stands, that was so damn cool. Cool. Yeah, Austin Eckler to get 20 touchdowns this season, and seemingly nobody is talking about it is borderline criminal.
It is criminal.
So,
so I guess the one thing that I don't know why this came up. You talked about Austin Eckler, Justin Jackson, free agent Justin Jackson. Well, I wonder what's going to happen there because he turned it on in the last 4 or 5 games there. He became the true number 2.
Well, he was healthy. He had fresh legs he hadn't played much this year. So I'm still on the fence with Justin. Really am. He's been hurt for so long.
Yeah, I get it. You can't put money into a guy that's always hurt.
Right.
Just can't do it.
But I mean, it all depends on the price and, and what we have in the depth situation. I mean, whether or not Joshua Kelly's going to come back, probably not. And you got Roundtree that's already back there as well. So it all depends on how many of the depth in that position we decide to bring back next year. And if there is a running back that shows up in the draft or even in free agency that we can afford.
That's what I was going to say. Find another Eckler in the free agency.
That means
Chargers have done it before.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, all right. Well, there you go, Bolt Gang. Thank you for asking the question. Let's move it on now to Okie Doggy. And shout out to Alien of Beanzor because you asked the same question. But I'm going with Okie Doggy, and it goes something like this.
Look, all I gotta say is the reason the prophecy didn't work is because the NFL increased the number of games to 17. Had it been a 16-game season, we would be in the playoffs, so take that as you will. But anyways, I know we have all offseason to talk about what's next, but I still want to ask you guys what you want the team to do, excuse me. Do we sign Nwosu and White fast before they hit the market? Do we go after Fangio or any defensive-minded coach who got let go as defensive coordinator? Do we swing for the fences and sign Devontae Adams and J.C. Jackson if they are available? Are there any players in the draft you guys want the team to go after, like Jordan Davis or Britton Covey? Bolt up, guys, because next year is where Air Bear becomes Darth Vader and destroys the league.
Go ahead. You guys go first.
Well, most of it we've talked about.
A lot of it we have talked about.
The Nwosu call is interesting. I want him back. I think he's starting to finally hit his stride, and he's in a defense that fits his playing abilities.
Right.
I think he's a big time player for us. And you just watch in the Raiders game, he stepped up huge when they were shutting Bosa down all night.
Right.
I think the lack of pass rush from the inside is really what the issue is. So D tackle Tillery, I don't know. I'm just not sold on the guy. I think he shows up and sometimes he just doesn't.
He's been the epitome
invisible.
of inconsistency, unfortunately.
Which is what we're trying to get rid of on our football team.
Yeah.
So I do think you sign Nwosu and White fast. I think you bring them back. I think they're good. It seems like they're good locker room guys that everyone gets along with and they like playing with. So those guys you find fast. The defensive-minded head coach, like defense coordinator thing, again, I don't think you're going to be able to draw a big name to be the grunt work guy that doesn't get any of the glory.
Right.
And then Devontae Adams, I don't see that happening. That is just not the Tommy T way of philosophy of football.
Right.
It would be sick and it would be a splash. But I don't see it happening.
Yeah.
I want them to spend more money on the defense, honestly. Like just seeing what we did this year, I would be happy with re-signing, bringing back Mike Williams, signing him up, and then going after just get this defense just loaded, just get what you can in free agency and make this team better. That's what I really want to see.
All right. So there you go. And yeah, I mean, as far as like guys that we want to get in the draft, I mean, the only one that's ever been mentioned is Kyle's mountain of a man and the punter at SDSU. So like
want him. Excuse me. I want him. Ariaza. What was his name again? Ariaza.
I don't remember.
Ariaza.
Matt Araiza.
Something
along those lines. Yeah,
all right.
He's a Bronco. Go Bronco Blue.
Yeah. RBHS.
That's right. Yeah. High school Bronco, not
the Denver.
Not the Denver Broncos.
Not
the
Denver
variety.
and not Boise State. So there you go. All right. Okie Doggy and Alien of Beanzor, thank you guys for asking the question. Let's move it on now to Salty Sports Guy, who asked the question.
The narrative that Staley lost the game with the timeout is lazy and revisionist. People want someone to blame, but the truth is it was an all-time great game that we just happened to be on the wrong end of. Shit happens, all right? You don't always get the Hollywood ending. I started this account because after 20 years of being a Charger fan, I was jaded and pissed. But guess what? I'm not salty about this season because this team gave me so many reasons to be hopeful about the future. This team gave me 17 great game days, and the only thing I'm upset about is that I won't get another one for 8 months. My question this week is, are you more looking forward to the excitement of the draft or the big impact of free agency? Cheers, guys. Thanks for the weekly therapy sessions.
You'll always be my number one salty sports dude, salty sports guy.
I'm more excited about free agency because that's the win now pickups.
Right.
And isn't that first? I want whatever happens first. That's what I'm the most excited for. Because I need something to wash this
free
game
agency will open up before the draft. But then there's always some lingering guys that are around. They're waiting to see what happens in the draft before they sign somewhere. But yeah, look, the first 2 rounds, you should get starters.
Right.
Maybe only the first round you get a starter. We need to win right now.
Right.
Like Justin Herbert being on his rookie contract, we got to win right now. So the free agency guys you bring in, that's to win now. And so that's what I'm most excited for. The draft, I'm still looking forward to, but that's how you develop your team. Like Kevin said earlier, that's how you have your backups, your special teams. They're the players that come on the cheap. But right now, we need to win. So I'm excited about what we do in free agency, who we re-sign, who we let go, and 100%. What big names we bring in.
There you go.
I agree with you more, Coach.
Yeah, it's exactly what we're all thinking. So, Salty Sports Guy, hey, thanks for not being salty and not being pissed, and thank you for asking the question.
We got to come up with a new name if you're not salty anymore.
What do you just salty take?
The super sports guy,
sweet sports guy,
the savory sports guy,
sassy sports guy,
sassy or savory.
All right, there you go, bud. Let's move it on now to Gruder McBolt,
sassy sports guy,
who asked the question. A time is coming where we won't have to live and die by ref calls. Future is bright. Plethora of draft picks, big salary cap, and continuity will make next year fun to watch. Swatch. You're a main character in a movie, either post-apocalyptic reality, comedy, or action hero flick. Okay, love you. Bye.
Sorry, that voice gets me. Sorry, I wasn't even really funny moments
because he was
in there.
Talking about his watch that he hit up his ass. All right. Well, yeah, lots of things to be excited about. But the question is, if you're a main character in a movie, either post-apocalyptic reality comedy or action hero flick.
Comedy. I love comedies. That's just what
Kyle's Nacho Libre for sure.
Yeah. If I could be one character, I would pick Nacho Libre for sure. And they have to come out with a sequel. I don't know what's taking so long. Jack, get on it.
What's taking so long?
We have some downtime this offseason. We can make our very own Nacho Libre starring Kyle the Coach Duggan.
I'm down.
I'd be happy to direct and shoot that for you.
I was Nacho for Halloween like 5 or 6 years ago.
Oh man.
I used to work downtown and I would park because parking is like $200 a month. I would park like 10 blocks away and ride a skateboard into work. And I would ride on Halloween, I rode my skateboard down with my Nacho Libre, cape flying in my tights. It was awesome.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, yeah. I would be comedy too, because I think action hero or apocalyptic reality, you're going to die. So I'd rather laugh than die,
or
personally.
Hurt. You're going to get hurt.
You get maimed in some way.
Yeah, I might go action hero flick, just like an...
Living on the edge, yeah.
Yeah, just to mix it up a little bit. Like a action comedy kind of vibe, like a Die Hard 3 kind of energy, something like that.
Okay.
Funny, but dangerous.
Funny, but super serial.
Yeah, screams Kevin.
Super dangerous. Oh my God.
Screams Kevin. All right. Well, all right. Gruden McBolt, thank you.
Ninja moves.
Thank you for asking the question. And we go out of Ask Boltfam with Nick, our good old buddy Nick, a.k.a. Nick Defense Huge. And shout out to Bobby Caldron, because you guys pretty much asked the same, but Nick.
I kind of have to pee right now. I'm worried that I'm going to laugh so hard that I'm going to piss my pants.
Let's take a break. Let's use our sweet graphic.
All right. Temporary break.
Well, soldiers, I'm proud to have served with every damn one of you this year. Even you, Borat, you weird-ass creep.
High five.
Get the fuck away from me. Anyway, we've had a blast. From the goddamn roid field entrance of the Washington game, picking off patty cake several times at Arrowhead week 3, and showing the Raiders who the daddy is in week 4, we saw it all. We had some moments hairier than my goddamn unwaxed chest like the Pats, Vikings, and Ravens, but I always believed in this team. We made Joe Burrow bury his head in the sand on their home turf, and saw the gorgeous Herbie Caesar slap every bitch in a 2-mile radius into another dimension against the Giants. We do got some shit that needs sorting out this offseason, as well as was evident in that Texans game. But the performance we had with this head coach was like the goddamn wet offensive. Our boys gonna come back with balls the size of my head, and Herb's gonna be flinging fucking lead all over the battlefield next season, mowing down any bitch-ass grunt that just so happens to get stuck under the wheels of this train. Herb, Staley, and the rest of the hombres gonna come back shining as bright as the Dog Star Sirius. And that's some serious shit. We'll organize and retaliate against these hairless weasels and show them who runs this circus. We the directors, boy, they the performers. My question to you, courageous as soldiers, what was your top highlight from this season? What moment made you think, now this team has a big old goddamn set of cojones that I am proud of? My personal favorite was when we whipped that little pretender Drew, suck my lock into suspension. I don't see you dancing anymore, you teeny twerking bitch. Well done, man. You are dismissed.
Teeny twerking bitch. That's really funny.
Sorry.
Oh boy. All right.
That was a good one.
Favorite moments this season, guys.
I felt the balls at that Chiefs game. There's nothing like being at that Chiefs game. And then luckily I was there, and we were there late, and I got yelled and kicked out of the stadium for doing the podcast in the stadium when I was by myself. I got yelled at. Then went down and saw Coach and Justin and everybody walk out of the tunnel. Like that was like
surreal.
I was sold, but that was just, that took it to the next level. I was like, this is our coach. This is what I want. as a Charger fan, this is what I want. So that was it. That was it for me.
There you go. How about you, Kyle?
Yeah, I don't know. I was trying like right now to go through the Rolodex of fun memories because there were so many good ones. Like
there were
going to the Monday night game where we just put a smacking on the Raiders.
Right.
I went with my son and my dad, and that was really, really fun. But then I don't know why the Browns game is stuck in my head.
Yeah.
That was your game, Bulldog.
Yeah, Adam was there, but it was such a fun game to watch. And and the Browns were like, that was one of the big wins early in the season. They were obviously they were in the AFC. I don't know if they're in the championship or the divisional round, but they were projected to be a really, really big time team. And that was a fun one too.
Yeah, but going to that game was crazy to see the peaks and valleys, the back and forth it was just wild. It was a game that you really hope that you can go to, and being able to come out of it with a win was just crazy. I mean, that was
some blind dates.
Some blind dates. That's right. Yeah, getting to sit with my guys on either side of me. But honestly, like even though that game didn't go the way we wanted to, being able to go to a game with you guys and fun. Going through Thunder Alley like as the Charger chat, like riding up on the 5 North Bolt as well, like that was just
awesome.
Yeah, that was a good
that was the start, because we didn't get a chance to do any of that in 2020, so which we really wanted to do. And so all of those memories of being with you guys and every fan that we interacted with at Thunder Alley, like that was just some of the best this year, because it's a good fan base. It's a good Bolt fan base. So and being able to see the stadium in person, like that is just, it's still like, it's in my head, like how huge that place is. So,
I kind of want to modify mine and just add a little on top. I would say Ask Boltfam. Honestly, like I haven't laughed this consistently, this frequently, and I don't know when. Like you guys are so clever and funny.
Oh yeah,
and come up with the coolest shit. And Adam's voices just makes it over the top.
Yeah.
So it's just the one thing I look forward to the most after Charger games is Ask Boltfam. So thanks for contributing, everybody that does every week.
Absolutely.
This show would not be even close to what it is without you guys doing that.
Yeah, no, it makes it fun for us because we get to interact with you guys and really just have a lot of fun with it. So.
We're off season Ask Boltfam. Let's get funny. Let's get crazy.
Yeah, let's get nuts. All right. You want to get nuts?
Let's get nuts.
I'm ready for the off season, like random hypotheticals are always really fun. I feel like they come out of nowhere because there's just nothing going on. We just get random questions here and there.
Yeah.
Love it.
Let's get crazy this off season, Bolt fam. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for us here at Charger Chat. Any final thoughts, guys?
Prediction. Raiders get shut out and Kark retires. He sucks so bad.
And the Chiefs lose to the Steelers.
Yeah.
Roethlisberger.
There you go.
Perfect Sunday.
I can't top that. So I'm great with either one of those bold predictions. So, all right, gang. Well, that's going to do it for us here at the Charger Chat. Don't forget to bolt up because we're ready for any squad, any place.
K, love you, bye.
K, love you, bye.
K, love you, bye.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
Hey, you! Does nothing excite you anymore? Roller coasters seem boring? Yawn. Thrill-seeking activities don't do it anymore? Boring. Then how about you become a Charger fan? Experience the thrilling victories. Let's go! And the agonizing defeats. What the f***? All from the comfort of your home. Become a Charger fan and get your blood pumping today. Where's my heart medication?